Welcome back to the Unlock Your Retirement program with Bruce, Chris, and Bruce. And we're talking about different strategies, different risk management strategies, across your retirement planning. And a lot of these are ones that people don't manage, they don't really plan for. But we utilize enhanced retirement planning that really is over and above the traditional retirement plans that focus predominantly and sometimes solely on market risk. We want to really check all the boxes. We want to kind of look under every rock and see, can we find opportunities to help maximize your wealth in two ways. One is to have maximize growth, but have the right balance of growth versus downside exposure. But at the same time, look at areas where you're unnecessarily spending money or incurring costs that could otherwise be reduced or even avoided in the area of taxation, RMDs, Social Security taxes, things like that. So we were talking in the last segment about taxation, and I want to kind of wrap that up because this is a very broad area. There's a lot of things have changed in retirement planning. For many years. I mean, really, through the 50s and the 60s and into the 70s, people didn't have retirement accounts. They had a pension at work, and maybe they had an investment account. And the money in the investment account was after tax money. So they paid taxes on the growth. They had capital gain rates, things like that, but they didn't have the tax deferral that we see that's so predominant in retirement plans today. Today, we find very few pensions out there, and most people have a pile of cash that they've accumulated, the retirement wealth they've accumulated over their lifetime, and that's going to have to get them through retirement, typically subsidized with Social Security. So, when you look at that and realize the taxation issue, a lot of people just look at tax rates and say, okay, well, I'm in the 20% bracket. And so I can kind of say if I'm taking $1,000 a month or $3,000 a month, I can calculate what my taxes are. Well, the government has gotten really smart and in a way shrewd in that it's not just a singular tax. There's a lot of moving pieces in the tax arena. You have the tax on the income that you receive, but then you also have taxation on your Social Security that didn't exist many years ago. Then they started taxing up to 50% of your Social Security benefit, and now up to 80% of your Social Security benefit can be taxable as income. Then you also have Medicare. Medicare kicks in, and that's predicated on taxable income that you receive as what your premium is going to be. So you can find yourself, with the base income tax plus the taxation of Social Security plus possibly a higher than expected Medicare expense. So all of these things are monies that will leave your nest egg and will be going to the government, for their needs, of course, but they're not going to be providing one penny for your retirement lifestyle. And when people are saving for retirement, they're focused on that retirement lifestyle and what it's going to cost. And I think a lot of times we have avoided looking at, the real cost, and these are movable costs because as they increase taxes, that's going to mean it's going to cost more for that lifestyle. If you're paying more for Medicare, you're going to have an increased cost of lifestyle. If your health care costs skyrocket, that's going to be additional costs for that lifestyle. Things that don't transmit to going out to dinner or taking a trip or things that we come to enjoy about planning for retirement. So we want to look at all of these things. We're talking about all of these different risks and how they can impact you. Something that's been, a very key element the last several years is, we saw record low interest rates, ridiculously low interest rates. Then we saw interest rates climbing up, and people, I think, were very shocked to see what was happening in variable rate home mortgages, consumer debt, all of those things. And now it's kind of going back the other way. So, as we have these interest rates moving around, Chris, this is a cyclic issue, but, how does that affect us in the retirement arena, and what can we do to kind of offset that?
A lot of people have taken advantage, especially our retirees, of I can go to the bank now and get a 5% CD. We haven't been used to seeing that for the better part of a decade here. So as the CD rates are coming back down, we're getting a lot of questions on, okay, I'm not getting 5% anymore. So, what should I do with this money now? So we got to plan for that. And there's some with the market at all-time highs. There's some trepidation there about what to do with those funds. And that's, some of the wealth preservation strategies we look at, offer a good alternative there. They can still have opportunities but not put it fully at market risk as it's coming out of those CDs. So that's one of the issues. Then Bruce, you want to speak on how those interest rates and the fixed income market might be affected.
All right. Well, I mean, the standard procedure is, if you have a reduction of interest rates, you're going to see an increase on fixed income instruments. And that's pretty much the way it goes. That's the way it's always been. That's one of the reasons why we use some of the preservation strategies is because it takes a lot of the concern of interest rate risk out of play. You're putting a little bit more of the focus on what the market's doing, knowing that you have a certain level of protection in the event that those instruments start dropping in value. You have the a little bit more confidence in your investment portfolio at that point. And then, on the other side, if interest rates are rising, that's when you're going to see a little bit of a dip in fixed income instruments. So we're trying to take both sides of that in and eliminate that risk as much as possible in every plan that we have.
Okay, and I think, kind of wrapping that one up is, when you look at the traditional design of a portfolio, you've got income-related instruments and you've got your stock market instruments. And the reason you have the bonds or the fixed income instruments is to offset the risk factor, the swing factor, if you will, of what the portfolio can look like during a market decline. So it's a buffer against risk. And that becomes a big focal point whenever we design plans, is if the objective is to buffer risk, is to reduce risk exposure, we want to have a balance where I want the best upside potential if the market is an upward swing, but I want to have the wealth protection or preservation assets in place on a downturn. So these are alternatives, and there's different. Actually, the one Nobel laureate economist, he said basically, like, he used the example of annuities. And I'm not recommending annuities, but I'm saying, he looked at them as a comparison to fixed income investments and said, in many cases, this is an equal or sometimes superior strategy. So you want to say, how do I get the most bang for the buck for my dollar? And there's a lot of investment choices out there that are alternatives that are not the traditional stock or bond mutual funds or individual stocks or bonds. So people need to be aware of that, and we utilize those alternatives in our enhanced planning strategies that we build. So this is that's you can't have this typical boilerplate box set. This is how we build a plan. Everybody does it kind of the same way. I think one of the biggest challenges out there is every advisor is saying the same thing. We're different. Well, what makes you different? I can tell you what makes us different at WealthKare is the unique plans that we build, and whenever we build a plan. If you want us to build a plan for you, the goal is we've got to bring significant value to the table. We've got to be able to show you, and you be the judge, where we are able to unlock significant additional value in the area of managing all of these risks, and then they come home financially either in the form of significantly reducing costs, significantly reducing taxes, providing additional wealth to offset healthcare costs, providing additional wealth for long-term care. So the answer to most problems you'll see in retirement is more money. And that more money can be, I went to Walmart and got a job as a greeter, or, you want your money to work as hard as you worked to accumulate it. I think that's the big key there. Of course, I mentioned one of the big uglies there, and this has become really a main focal point in the last 5 years, is healthcare. Healthcare is growing. The cost of healthcare grows at an accelerated rate compared to inflation. Healthcare, I can say in my personal experience in my family, the quality of healthcare has declined significantly in this country. During the COVID crisis, we lost a lot of really good doctors that finally said, "I'm done. I'm retiring early." And I don't think you have to look real hard. You see signs on billboards, for God's sake. They're trying to find healthcare workers, find nurses, find people, to provide this. The boomers are an aging population. They're running into that section of their life where now health concerns become paramount, and all of these things are happening, and they cost a lot of money. So if you budgeted for good times on vacation, good times with your grandkids, good times for trips, good times for golfing, RVing, or whatever your passion is, and all of a sudden you find yourself writing big checks to the result of healthcare costs. So I think, more than ever, I think is something needs to be inclusive in a plan. Don't you agree, Bruce?
Absolutely. We've had quite a few people we've sat down with that, 1 out of 2 people are going to need some form of it at some point in their life. We've watched a lot of our clients who are dealing with that with their parents in a lot of cases, or have gone down that road with a family member. The cost is well into 5 figures a month, and the concern is just how fast it erodes away an investment portfolio. And people are usually out of money within several years of a stay. So it wipes away all that money that they've spent their entire lifetime amassing and protecting or doing whatever they've done with it. They've been great stewards of their money in most cases, and all of a sudden it just disappears to a nursing home. The cost of Alzheimer's care is absolutely astronomical at this point. So it's something that a lot more people are putting that into their overall planning because they see this coming down the road. Yeah, like Dad said, it's over the last 5 years you've seen such a climb in this. That's not going to end. It's going to keep getting higher.
And Chris, we can't stick our toe in that pond until we talk about long-term care, because that's I think the biggest unknown for a lot of people.
Yeah, the struggles of figuring out Medicare and Medicare supplements early in your retirement. That's a whole process, as Bruce, you're starting to go through and looking into that kind of stuff.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that, buddy.
You threw him under the bus there.
Long-term care is definitely, as young Bruce has mentioned there, it's eating up a lot of people's retirement and their planning. And there's many different ways to look at covering that care. You have the traditional long-term care policies, that the premiums keep going up, and, whether you go into a home or not, you have to keep paying those premiums, and kind of like car insurance. If you never get in a wreck, what do you have the car insurance for? But there's some other alternative strategies out there, using some asset-based care, that not only provide long-term care coverage, but, make sure someone gets a benefit out of your hard-earned dollars that you put towards that pie, or that expense. So a second opinion there on how to cover long-term care, could provide you maybe some valuable insight for different ways to cover it, outside of just self-insuring.
So and if you look at this, so as we're talking about all these things on the program today, you may say, well, hey, maybe it's time for me to get a second opinion on my wealth. All you have to do is give us a call at the WealthKare Investment Center, 888-888-5601. That's 888-888-5601, and schedule a 20-minute complimentary discovery call. You can also go on WealthKare, that's wealthkare.com, and schedule your discovery call there. So it's an opportunity to talk with our team of advisors, elite advisors here at WealthKare, and we do manage money as a team approach. That you're not my client or Chris's client or the other Bruce's client. You're a client of our firm, and we get together just like a group of doctors do professionally to find the best course of action for your situation. To learn more about how we do what we do, look at our enhanced planning strategies. We have a free video and ebook for you at unlockfreebook.com. So visit the website, download the ebook, and watch the video there. You'll see our case study that we've done to kind of show you how enhanced planning can really create significant additional value. It's not guaranteed, but it's one of those things that we find the majority of people we meet with, we are able to unlock significant value by planning strategies that did not exist in their previous planning. We'll be right back with the Unlock Your Retirement program.
And now the moment our lawyer lives for.
Fee-based financial planning and advisory services are provided by WealthKare.com, Inc., an investment advisor based in Pennsylvania. Use of the term tax-free refers to federal income tax treatment only and may not apply to state, local, or specialized taxes. The impact of taxes varies by individual or family and should be considered before any transaction. Case studies are based on hypothetical scenarios, not actual clients, and do not guarantee specific results. All recommendations are tailored to the client's unique data. WealthCare and Bruce Smith are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency. All content is for informational purposes only and should not be used for financial decisions. Unauthorized use is prohibited.